How's the tour going?
It's been going really well, man. Very emotional, cathartic, all the things. A very special experience. Yeah, that for this first month has been full on. We had the band join me in the first four shows. So we had rehearsals for the first week prior, and everybody's just in different places in their life right now. So it's real special when we actually get to come together. Everybody's got different jobs, living in different areas of the country. So it takes a bit to get everybody, to be in a central place to go create. And then, just putting that show together. I spent since last November designing the show and rehearsing it without the band, and then bringing them in and inserting them into the whole program. So it was a learning curve, but it was really special. I did a lot of musical theater growing up. I love making a show, for people with a story arc, and with the dynamics as well. So knowing that I was going to be doing the majority of the tour solo, I just really wanted to try and make something special for the shows with the band, which they did the first four, but then they'll also do the last one in Denver with me, and then be able to sort of like still hold the space when I'm up there alone.
Yeah, so just for our listeners here, just I'll give a little cue here. Welcome to KVAN LP Tucson 91.7 radio station. And for all you guys hopping on, if you have not heard, Nahko will be performing in Tucson at the Sea of Glass Center for the Arts Wednesday night, October 1st. Doors open at 6 for VIP ticket holders, 7 p.m. for general tickets, shows at 7:30. And also performing is Natalie Rise. So that's going to be a great show and great group of people there. So tell me about Take Your Power Back. What does that actually mean to you, Take Your Power Back? I know the theme of the your album that came out in 2020, and I think that's the theme of the whole tour. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we did a bit of Take Your Power Back touring prior to the album coming out in 2020. We did a bit of touring with Take Your Power Back 1.0 in 2019. Debuted a few songs off the album, but we really went into the pre-production in 2019. And I had done an interview in the process of making the album, and the interviewer had asked me, "What does Take Your Power Back mean to you?" And I visibly went blank as I looked back on that interview and cringed a little, because I was like, man, that was my moment. I hadn't prepared for it, like many things in my life at the time. And I had said, and in all honesty, I said, well, I'm not really quite sure. I think I'm in the midst of finding out. And boy, was I right about that, because, we put the album out in 2020, and then my whole life fell apart in a very public way. And being able to learn what Take the Power Back means to me over the last 5, 6 years now has been a cathartic journey, to say the least. I think that I know now that it means to me being in my integrity, which is to have healthy boundaries, really good communication, intentional energy, radical honesty and accountability. And those are just a few of the things. I think that it's been really interesting in a deep reflective space to go back into this album now, 5.5 years later, to listen to the story arc of the album. I'm still a really big fan of full-length albums in this single-driven world, because I'm a storyteller, with the roots of folk music, and being able to see how those songs really fit this ethos and this themes across the whole record. There's a lot of talk about feeling alone, belonging, finding a home, and a lot of recurring themes like that. It's been really interesting to talk to people on the tour as well, to discover, in that moment, like how people feel, what that means to them too. And interestingly enough, a lot of people say the same kind of art. There's a lot of threading of the needle that goes when I'm hearing what people are saying, what Tip Car back means to them. There's a lot of autonomy, and a lot of that understanding of having that deep relationship to yourself is such an important connection between, oneself and one's beliefs of a higher power. The connection between those two things, specifically when we look at the insane amount of manufactured disorder happening outside in the outside world, the importance of having that deep connection in the inner world is becoming even more prevalent in terms of people's awareness about how to manage, what we're seeing out there, what we're seeing on the phone. And it's been really beautiful to hear that my own reflections and understandings of what Take Power Back means to me is being reflected in my audience as well.
Yeah, beautiful answer, man. Yeah, I think I remember when that album first came out, because I followed your music for years. it was kind of prophetic, I guess, in some ways, as you shared. Like,
Oh,
you didn't,
ironically so.
you had no idea how much it would, what it actually meant, you know,
That's
what
weird.
was going on.
Music is strange like that, right? It's one of those mystical, magical things that I don't know if I'll ever really understand, but I do have a lot of respect for it. Which is to say that, you know, there seems to be a foretelling at times, and you know, that's also to say I wrote those songs with a firm belief that I was in the knowing and understanding of what they meant to me at the time, which I do believe I did. Life has its ways of teaching us sometimes harder earned lessons. I seem to have told myself back then, hey, little buddy, you know, pay attention, listen up, you know.
You know, that occurred to me when I was listening to it. I remember actually I was in Sedona. I was actually mowing my lawn on the riding mower,
Yeah, boy.
listening to take your power back in my earbuds, and then I saw some of all the controversy that was coming up, and people, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then just had that, you know, it occurred to me like, wow, this is, because I knew you wrote all those songs before, you know, that whole thing happened, and I was like, this is pretty interesting. Like in his life, that it's almost like you prophesized a lot of those things. I don't know, you didn't mean to, but it was like just the magic of the music, man, or just tuning in, you know. When any artist, when we write songs or we paint a painting or whatever it is that we're doing, you know, we're channeling something bigger than ourselves often. So who knows? But there's some powerful stuff there, man, and really powerful stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm like, maybe the next album I should be like, thanks for the $1 billion. Gonna make some cool stuff with it.
There you go. Thanks for the wife and kids and homestead and the boat.
Hey, here you go. Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Yeah.
You know, the world's a pretty crazy place. And the last time you were doing the Take Your Power Back tour, you know, that was 5, 6 years ago. You know, different political climate, different social climate. Speak to, if you can, if you've noticed like any difference, you know, like just in playing in the clubs and the venues, touring around. Just, is there a different feeling in the world for you now? Political, social climate, spiritual reality, you know, reception of your music, just the feeling of being on the road.
Sure, yeah. I mean, in many ways, just the same. It's just a different day, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm not as focused on what's going on out there. You know, like I'm paying attention because that's just who I am. But I think that I was definitely way more focused on like social justice issues. And after having been grounded, you know, and spending so much time in a nest and doing my own thing, I don't know. I guess like I'm more interested in just creating good music and creating spaces where people can be safe and do that, and less concerned about talking about politics. You know, times change, I change. You know, I'll still talk about it with the homies. You know, and I'll touch on it here and there. You know, at a show. More so, I'm more focused on like talking to people about taking care of themselves. I think that's at the heart of the whole thing. Is like as the illusion of the outside world becomes more and more apparent as the veil is lifting. You know, it's so easy to get like down the rabbit hole of the conspiracy theories and everything. You know, we can get lost in that place and forget about what actually is real and things that we can feel or taste, touch, and understand. Whether that's your connection to creator, your connection to yourself, the people that you be seeing every day, you know, off the phone, you know, off the TV. Really lost sight of how we can break bread with people that have different opinions of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
The world has become such a black and white place, either with you or against you. You know, there's not hardly any room for people to have a different opinion anymore. It's a scary place to be in. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that is online. You know, you get out into the actual world and you discover that people are just chilling, man, for the most part. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, of course, that's not to say that there is a lot of stress and violence and concern and frustration and economic hardships and people be living in fear of deportation and of violence against them for whatever they believe in and try to stand. These are all things that we have experienced and seen, you know, over hundreds of thousands of years, and it's not it hasn't changed. Sure,
Mm-hmm.
they turn up the heat as when we're in that manufactured chaos and the massive divisiveness, and it's all playing out right now, right before our eyes. I don't know, man. I'm just one little fella out here trying to do my thing and help people out in that way through music that's helped me out, you know, and help me heal and help me grow. So it's I don't have the answers, but I think that the thing I try to remind people of is that be doing that work, be doing that work and on yourself, and stay true to that space, because the gaslighting out there is incredible. It's harder and harder to know what's real. Make sure you know what is real.
Yeah, gotta have a good relationship with yourself and know yourself and your convictions and your beliefs and who you are. But the good thing about music is it's a universal language, so that's the beautiful thing. You were mentioning about just the polarization of our country and everything's so black and white and the separations, and that's definitely fed in the media rhetoric and social media, and they want us to have that separation. And like you said, you get out and you just start meeting people, and people are just cool. They're just people, living their lives. They just want to connect, and so part of that is exaggerated through the media, but part of it is real. But the great thing about music is it connects all cultures, all colors, all religions, all differences, and who can't love good music, and that's it is medicine, it's always been the way to peace, I think, is through music. And I believe in this concept called unity without uniformity. Like us human beings, we got to find unity without uniformity. We don't all have to be the same. There are things that can unite us. I think belief in spirituality and just knowing that we're created beings under a loving creator is one thing that can unite us. And why be so attached to what we call that creator or our path to that creator or anything like that? One thing I've always loved about your music is it does bring people to a state of higher consciousness. It kind of brings them out of whatever muck and mire they may be in, and into positivity, into thinking about connection, thinking about, making them just think in a different way than they may think, and realize the beauty of human connection and the beauty of love, because love does transcend a lot. I know that can kind of sound cliche and just like new age, you're like, oh, love can transcend anything. But the fact of the matter is it can. That's just the truth, and how we love and how we conduct ourselves, is unique to each one of us, like your expression of love may be through your music and songs, and is through your music and songs. Mine may be something different. That doesn't mean we're not loving loving people. We just do it in different ways, Of course, there's our actions and how we conduct ourselves and our integrity and how we speak and our energy and our space. All that is more universal. But I think human beings would do well to be a lot more open to everyone's various expressions of love and expressions of their personalities. And, if we all stop trying to squeeze everybody into different boxes that we could understand, different, contexts that we can understand, and just let people be their unique expressions,
Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah. I wanted to just also say, I really dig your Black as Night acoustic album.
Oh, thanks, bud. Appreciate that, man.
Really
Yeah.
Awesome. Just those songs.
It's a fun project to go back in after 10 years and kind of reimagine things.
Yeah. Now, Yippee is my favorite. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but
Nippy.
Yeah, that song is my absolute favorite. At the end of the year, it was my most played song on Spotify, actually.
Well, I love that. Yeah.
Huge fan of that one.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a really special time going back in and recording those ones and listening to the song and being like, all right, how can I do this differently? And really highlight the stories and, less is more.
Do you remember when and where you wrote that song?
Oh, yeah, bro.
No,
man, it's Indonesia. Nippy is the Indonesian New Year's. And
okay.
Have a big journey over there.
It's a sacred song, man. I mean, it's a very sacred song for me. So
universal truth in there, and I fear nothing. Nothing fears me. Justice has different hats for different days. Yeah, I think I was like 27, 26 when I wrote that song. And I was spending a lot of time in Indonesia at the time. Just the way that the Indonesian people, both Muslim and Hindu, every day they're praying. They put their offerings out every morning, and they're just really beautiful people. In the way that they do ceremony and the way that they pray, and yeah, it really inspired me.
I mean, just the simple truth in that song, release thy anger, love thy neighbor. Just like a simple, profound truth. But if everybody did that, all day, every day in the whole world, what a beautiful place the world would be,
Just imagine.
Yeah.
Right?
So, in 2020, when COVID hit, and you go back into the Oregon woods and stuff, and you're nesting, so to speak, and just going within and working on yourself and rebuilding. And what were some gems you feel comfortable telling the audience? And what are some things that you learned during that process there?
I think as far as what I learned, it was just like better communication with everybody in my life, having a nest is such an important part of being an artist, in my opinion, because you have a place to like start from. I was such a gypsy for so many years, and didn't have anything to like pour my energy and love into. I also became a father in 2018, and so spending quality time with my daughter and being a dad really changes things a lot, as you know. Those aspects of life that hadn't been given uh, proper like attention and love really transformed my perspective and my priorities. When that shifts, everything else shifts. You're not chasing a dream.
Yeah, like you
Really
said, you were
cleaned
doing
up the cobwebs, man.
Yeah, you were doing so much touring too before that, and like you said, a gypsy, and then so it must have been nice just to like lock in, just nest,
Man. Hey,
wake up slow in the morning, or write a song.
Yeah, but then
plant some food, chop some wood.
Yeah, chop wood, carry water. I mean, but you also a lot of time spent just getting into a flow of discipline to like run a business from home, be a stay-at-home dad, and then like find a schedule that could work for me so I could still do live performance, still be an artist and find art in different forms, outside of playing music and be able to be a taskmaster, I mean, in its own way, because when you're working from home and running this from home and juggling all the things, you got to be able to figure out a way to balance it all.
And so, did you write your album Trenches? Did you write a lot of those songs during that period?
Trenches album actually ended up being a thing I'd never done before, which was I wrote it for the album. There was a couple songs that have been developing over the last few years there, but most of it I wrote on the spot for the album, which is brand new concept.
Wow.
I usually just bring songs that have been building over years. There was like a handful of songs from Take Your Power Back I wrote for the album, but I never written an album, and it's almost in its entirety for the project. So I mean,
cool. So you like went into the studio and just started writing songs just right there on the spot.
Did a lot of experimenting for that album too. It was fun.
Yeah.
Just trying stuff out. Like my producer, I've been working with him for 6 years now. He's a musician as well, so we got to try a lot of new. Oh, let's try this thing though. Let's try like doing some Fleet Fox stuff. I said, hey, let's make a trap song. How do we do that? And he said, oh, just play the guitar, just say this and we'll put some beats to it. Indigenous drums and showdowns and taiko stuff. It's just fun to like play around, and make stuff, like see what you can do with it. That's half the fun.
So when people listen to your music and say they go to your concert in Tucson on Wednesday night, they hear your concert and they leave, what do you want them to feel and think when they walk out that venue door?
I will just hope that they're able to feel like they got a bit of a boost of energy, something that they can take home, share with their family or community, maybe a gem or two, or just be able to feel better. It's really about good energy and be shared, be a noticeable, facelift, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to wish anything on anybody. I guess I just try to keep what I'm doing and what I'm bringing on the straight arrow, and trust that others will be open to receiving that and be able to take something like that with them too, whatever it may be. Everybody's so different. I met a guy last night that was really interesting. He came to the meet and greet. He was like, I'm here on a whim. A friend of mine told me about your music. I've never heard of you before, but the way he described it felt like there could be something in alignment and helpful for me. And I said, so you didn't listen to any music before you came? He goes, nope. I sang a song. And I said, and you paid for the meet and greet? He was like, yeah. And he goes, yo, you have some passionate people here. We really love you. And I said, he was like, that must mean you're doing something right. I said, that must mean I'm doing something right. And I said, you should write to me. Send me a DM. Give me a post show, feedback. I can't wait to hear how it went for you. So I'm hoping to hear from him today.
Yeah, that's super cool. Wow. The first time I heard about you was, over 13 years ago, probably. I was surfing YouTube and I came across your Dark as Night video when you're sitting in the back of that truck playing the acoustic guitar. And I was like, ooh, I like this. That was the first time I ever heard of you, early on. And then I ended up seeing you about a year later in LA at a festival called No Festival, KNOW. Remember that No Fest?
Oh yeah. Hey.
Yeah, first met you there, and then I just really fell in love with your music ever since. So I've always followed it and appreciated it, and good stuff, man. Looking forward to your show on Wednesday night. I really appreciate you taking the time taking the time to talk to me here and
the mighty Natalie Rise, man. You got everybody go check out Natalie Rise, man. I've been knowing her for
I was actually familiar with her too. Yeah, I was familiar with her too for years. So when we booked you and Adam said she was coming, I was like, oh, I know Natalie Rice. I love her. That's great. So
she's a powerful, powerful, powerful singer. It's a real honor to be on the road with her, to share the stage with such a incredibly talented, poignant, and poetic woman who really claims that stage and really speaks deep truth. So if anybody out there hasn't heard of her, check her out. She's got a new album out as well. She's going to be opening up and bringing some straight fire for our show in Tucson.
Beautiful. So yeah, listeners, go to seaofglass.org or Nahko's website. Both have links to tickets. Show is Wednesday night. VIP tickets, I think, are closed now, but you can get the general admission. Doors open at 7.
Yes, sir.
So cool, man. Thank you for the time, Nahko. We'll see you Wednesday, man.
Thank you, brother. See you soon.